If you're seeing this, then this is your Tarot Tuesday. Welcome, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you've never been here, we're so happy to have you. We are taking a look at the week ahead here on Tarot Tuesday. We're looking at the week of October 1st through October 7th. And what's been happening? It's been a lot. What's gonna be happening? It's a lot. So much shifting, so many things. How are you doing? Because I have been going through it. So if you're also going through it, welcome. Get comfortable. We're all friends here. And yes, we're going to be looking at the next 7 days, a week ahead. Here I have a couple. We have our usual suspects, our oracle deck. We have our spicy oracle and our tarot cards. So yeah, we'll have a lot to dive into. Like I said, it's been a lot. And so we'll talk a little bit about the astrology before we dive in with the cards. But also, if you are finding this video and it is not October 1st, or it's not the week of October 1st through the 7th in 2024, that's fine, because time is not linear. So these messages were meant to find you exactly when they're meant to find you. You may be connected to or embodying the energies here in this reading for whatever reason. And so you can just trust that these messages are finding you exactly when they're meant to find you. But if you are finding them within the week of October 1st through the 7th, then we are specifically dealing with certain things astrologically that are affecting the collective that's coming to see this video. So yeah. So welcome. My name is Lara, by the way. I forget that a lot. I forget to introduce myself. Could she be better about it? Yeah, but it's fine. What's important is the message, right? So, I'm simply just here as the channel. But anyway, yes, these messages are here meant to find you when they are finding you. So this could be a year from now. It could be 5 years from now. I don't know. But you know what's best for you. Somewhere in there, So I always recommend just approaching this with an open heart, an open mind, and a willingness to look at your truth, which is a little easier said than done. But you might be surprised. So yes, so welcome in. What else? Oh, also this is a general reading. So we're looking at the energies of a collective that are coming to find this video whenever they find it. So it may not be case specific for you, but we're talking about themes and patterns and energies that we're all sharing together. So like I said, you're going to know what's best. If something fits, great. If something doesn't fit, also great. You don't have to take what doesn't fit. Hopefully you find some value out of the message regardless, but you'll know more than me, really, if I'm being honest. And we're going to find out more together because I'm right here with you through all of it. Yay. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the astrology. What's been happening? So we are literally at this moment walking out of an eclipse portal. We started with our last full moon, which was in Pisces. Yes. Which was a lunar eclipse, super moon, new moon, a full moon, sorry. So really big energies. That eclipse was also dealing with a lot of the themes and patterns that go back pretty far. I mean, they could go back 15, maybe even 20 years, depending on who you are. but a deeper system of patterning that is now ready to be released. So I know our mutable signs were the most affected. I am a Sagittarius, which is mutable. Mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius. So maybe you have placements in one of those. My sun sign is a Sagittarius, and it absolutely rocked me. There was a lot of really big stuff that I've been working on for a really long time that came up. And yes, this, and that started this eclipse portal that we are walking out of. So now we are looking ahead. Tomorrow, the 2nd, October 2nd, is when we're having a new moon in Libra, because we also welcomed Libra season recently. And so we're really getting into the swing of it. This new moon is also a solar eclipse. So eclipses, again, these are bringing major shifts, major change, major endings. If a lot of things are like ending in your life right now, that is 100% par for the course. Whether or not you're ready, the universe is like, it's time to go. And you may go with that kicking and screaming. The choice is yours. If you're doing your work though, there's a lot of integration, and integrating the shadow that can be really beneficial, around this time. And this particular solar eclipse is looking at a cycle that's a little shorter, that started last April 2023. So think about the things that you have been working on. What did you start working on in April of 2023? Where are you now? What are some of those lessons? What's here to be learned? And what's not serving you? And are you ready to let it go? Because it's going. So yeah. So this one is, it's allegedly supposed to be a little lighter on us, a little easier on us. That first one was real intense, but this one should be a little lighter, because we're not dealing with such a long period of patterns that we're working through, if that makes sense. Anyway, so that's kind of the long and short of it. The new moon in Libra, solar eclipse happening on the 2nd. There's other planets, they're doing all kinds of crazy things out there. There's this particular new moon eclipse too. This is like really emphasis on dark goddess energy, which I love. It's chaotic. Eclipses are chaotic. A lot of people recommend not doing any manifesting during eclipse seasons. I don't know if I necessarily agree. I think manifesting can be a much more like experimental process than we give it credit for. So if you're like good with some chaos and you want to play around, know what you're doing, think about it. Not saying just like go out there willy-nilly, because the implications, the energy is just so big. It's less predictable. Let's put it that way. It's less predictable. But if you like to roll the dice, like, why not? Why else are we here? So if that is the case for you, the new moon, this particular new moon is a good time to maybe set some intentions. You don't have to go hard at it by any means, because just a little push will really take off. But yes, so, okay. I think that's kind of it. That's as much as I want to listen to myself talk anyway. So why don't we just jump in with our cards? I've got our Oracle of Mystical Moments here, so I'm just going to give a little shuffle. And could we please have a card sort of keying us into what themes we'll be dealing with over the next 7 days? All of those who are coming to this video. There we go. Perfect. All right. This is really pretty. We have the Butterfly Garden. I love the matching because I'm in all the purple and blues. Anyway, whatever. Really interesting here. This big butterfly on her head. There's a sense of stillness in this card, you know, stillness within the, you know, her connection to the flower, and also stillness with this butterfly. So what I'm picking up from this so far, definitely stillness. Butterflies also represent transformation. With the flower, I'm picking up a lot of, like, you know, Venusian energy, which is very Libra. Venus rules Libra and Taurus. Let me see within the book. It's just like such a still card here. Let's see what we've got. If you can add a little bit. Butterfly Garden, curiosity, discovery, small moments in life. Okay. A woman holds a blooming flower in her hand, and as she gazes towards the sky, on her head sits a butterfly closely examining the purple petals. Enjoying the situation, the woman stands still and quietly soaks in her surroundings. Okay, yeah, so there is that stillness that I was picking up on. She does not want to disturb the scene. In our daily life, there are so many possible moments that could be precious if we would just take the time to notice them. Be mindful of your surroundings and pay attention. Ask, why is that there? Then make connections. Small observations can lead to great discoveries. Okay, so I feel like, too, if you've had questions for yourself about what's happening in your life, there's an element here of certainly stillness, because within the stillness is where we recognize these small moments. And oftentimes it's in these small, quiet moments where we find the most joy. That's certainly true for me. And in those small moments, quiet moments where we're finding our joy, that's really where we're, we're finding that appreciation for life, no matter what we face. And underneath the deck too, I saw we have, this is the Art of Seduction. There could be something here regarding a partnership or a relationship within your life, but also I think in a more general sense, the art of seduction, the art of seducing your life. The seduction is the stillness. The seduction is those quiet moments of appreciation. And leaning into that is, by seducing life is when we encourage more beauty to come in. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's see. We've got our spicy oracle here. Let's see what they've got to say. Let's have 3 of them. Okay. All right. So we've been getting this one a lot. You're so my type. Not sitting this one out. And I do. Yeah, again, with you're so my type, this is really like, again, this is like hammering the art of seduction home for me. Maybe this is like the universe, you know, there's a process of seducing the universe and watching this universe seduce you back. If that makes sense, right? Like, and these quiet, still little moments. Also, like, this is, you can also say like these seductive moments, maybe they're more magical moments, right? So it's not just, I don't know, what's like a really mundane thing. It's not just making a cup of coffee in the morning, okay? It's ritualizing that cup of coffee. Maybe it's enchanting that cup of coffee. Putting your manifestation and intention in that coffee. And sitting down in a quiet moment to sip your coffee, to taste your coffee. Seduction is a big part of this, of seduction is sensuality, right? So like, are you enjoying your senses? It doesn't have to be big and grandiose moments of seduction. I think we get that confused a lot. Little things, right? Like, you know, when I go out for walks and stuff like that, it's like I'm just like struck by the beauty of this particular flower. It's so vibrant. It smells so good. And I literally just have to like stop and admire it for a brief moment, at least, you know? And then, you know, there's the connection there. There's the appreciation is being shown. Appreciation is like a huge part of seduction for me. So you're so my type, not sitting this one out. This is sort of like, you know, implying there's an opportunity here not to be, wasted or missed. And then I do as well. I feel like is not sitting this one out. I do. You know, I'm just, again, with this card here, the I do is, I feel like that's like making a specific commitment to this appreciation of small moments. Maybe you're looking for commitment from the universe. Maybe the universe is looking for commitment from you for something. But it's certainly an opportunity that stillness, appreciating the little moments of beauty in a way that is meant to like sort of seduce you back into, or seduce you into this life that you want for yourself, this way of life that you want for yourself. Yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. If you've ever read, what's her name? Elizabeth something. She wrote some books. Anyway, She wrote the book Big Magic. I think that's the one. And I'm forgetting her name, Elizabeth something. She also wrote Eat, Pray, Love. I think I'm remembering that correctly. Anyway, in her book Big Magic, she wrote a part about seducing your creativity. That your creativity actually comes to you when you open up to seducing it. And I think that, you know, when we're talking about, especially with under new moon energy, if we're talking about manifestations, but just in life in general, cultivating a life that feels good, that feels connected, you know, it's about seducing life to be like, yeah, I see the moments where this is worth living, which again, this is easier said than done. But also, like, such an important, if you're processing like heavy grief right now, if there's been great loss, it's those little moments where we start to find little rays of sunlight and joy that actually heals the grief. It's such a fascinating process, and that's glimmers, because and a glimmer is something that reinforces joy and happiness and hope in our lives, whereas and they are the opposite of a trigger. So they may not be as many, they may not feel as intense, but when you are working with your triggers, you can start to find those glimmers. I feel like she's in a glimmer right now. And as far as my experience, it's those glimmers that have saved me from falling completely into the darkness of my grief. Period. But let's see where we are. Let's see if this is going to make sense for the week ahead. So I've got my tarot deck. We're going to ask, could we please have 3 cards for a clear and concise message? There's card number 1. Thank you. Clear and concise message about what is coming up for the week ahead for the collective that's finding this video. Please and thank you. There we go. Whoa. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. How interesting. All right, we're going to start at the bottom of the deck. Speaking of triggers, right out of the bat in our shadow card here, representing our subconscious, this is the energy that's running the show just under the surface. We have the 8 of Swords. So there's some perception that we are holding on to. We see this figure looking in a mirror, and the reality of the situation does not actually reflect what we see in the mirror. And this speaks a lot to the ways in which we keep ourselves trapped within our own mind. Self-sabotage may be coming up for you. The ways in which you self-sabotage. And it feels... It feels like you don't have the strength, to be honest. And I get that. Because really looking for the truth is a draining process. And it can feel like maybe you don't have the strength to keep going. But that, I think, even is a false perception that's holding you back from something that like very clearly needs to end with the Tower in reverse here. This is like a karmic ending coming in. But you're really not, you're very reluctant to let it go. And I think a lot of that is because there's mixed messaging around it. The King of Cups in reverse is, for me, this can be emotional manipulation, whether you're doing that to yourself or there's someone around you, perhaps. But it's made you feel very dependent. You don't feel like your strongest or your best self. And the reason for that is because you're looking in a mirror and you're not really seeing an accurate depiction of who you are. Maybe eclipse is challenging us to look at self-sabotaging tendencies and you're like, oh my God, like all of this work, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is like, maybe you're in a better place than where you perceive yourself to be. Okay, so what does that mean for us in our week ahead? Well, we have, starting off our week, we have the Page of Cups in reverse. We have the Page of Cups in reverse, we have the Ace of Cups in reverse, and then we have the Lovers upright. With the Page of Cups in reverse, pages often signify new beginnings. With the cups, we're talking about our emotions. This particular Page of Cups, this is like heavy Pisces energy. So in this position, it's really more about like surprises and things that maybe you thought weren't possible becoming possible. In this position, Pisces is also very dreamy. It's very romantic. Okay. In this position, I think we're dealing with a lot of delusion. This could very well be someone in your life. Maybe they're delusional, or your perception of the situation has you in delusion. Ultimately, with the Ace of Cups, I think what's going to be illuminated around the middle of the week, I think this is like realizing what the delusion is, where the delusion is, because we're trapped in this, inaccurate reflection, and it's draining us. The delusion is now being exposed. With the Ace of Cups in reverse, this, I think, the delusion being exposed is exposing how empty your own cup is. Aces are also new beginnings, weirdly enough. So we have two beginnings, but they're in the reverse position. So and with the Ace of Cups too, I get a lot of energy from this card being like, you can't pour from an empty cup. That's the phrase. So whether it's relationships or emotional patterns that have you still in some delusion that's draining you and keeping you from moving forward, this will be revealed, and it will also be revealed how much that's taking away from you finding your ultimate fulfillment. The good news is the very randomly and like it feels kind of like sudden, so I would say I wouldn't be surprised if it sort of smacks you in the face a little bit. But we're ending our week with the energy of the Lovers. So if this is about a person and your relationship to that person, the alignment to which you are connected with them, I think, is going to show itself, or you will get some key insights on where your alignment is. The Lovers card is also a card of choice. So where is your choice in the matter? Which feels very powerful, to be honest. But also, it's reflective of the art of seduction. And again, this doesn't necessarily have to be with another individual. It could, in general, speak to, you know, how you need to be filling up yourself so that you can show up in relationships of your choosing in alignment. Yeah. That's it. That's kind of what I've got. Hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense? I weirdly don't have anything else to say. So I think we're going to end it on that note. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know. Leave me a comment down below. I love hearing your experiences. There's all kinds of information also in the description box if you would like to connect with me. I do all kinds of fun things. This particular month, October, spooky season, is my biggest season. So it's a little tricky. I still do have personal readings available and open, but as far as like my event schedule, it's filling up really fast. So it's going to be a big month. But there's all kinds of ways to connect with me. If you're interested, you can always reach out. And what else can I say? I mean, the reading is like heavy on, you know, getting quiet, slowing down, and just really loving yourself. Loving yourself. Which I'm like, that's an everyday thing as far as I'm concerned. That's the goal every day. So yeah, amazing. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. I will, in that case, see you on the other side.